In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, where the ancient meets the ultra-modern, lies a nation that has embarked on a transformative journey, 1 year on from hosting the FIFA World Cup. In this podcast documentary, we delve into the tapestry of Qatar's World Cup anniversary, exploring the symbiotic relationship between technology, sustainability, and the beautiful game itself. Venturing beyond the glitz of the Lusail Stadium, we uncover the intricacies of a nation that has seamlessly blended tradition with innovation. Join us as we traverse the vibrant streets of Qatar, witnessing firsthand the coverage of local culture and modernisation, all while engaging in insightful conversations with the architects who breathe life into the iconic Lusail Stadium. This is a tale of a nation that dared to redefine the narrative of a global sporting event, a story of resilience, progress, and the harmonious coexistence of heritage and development. Welcome to the World Cup Chronicles, Qatar's unveiling. In this exclusive documentary, we engage in conversations with the visionary architects behind Qatar's Lusail Stadium. Delving into Qatar's strategic planning, we explore the pivotal role sustainability plays in shaping the nation's endeavours. So, Marcel, how would you approach a design of something that you know will either be torn apart later on to be repurposed, or would be kind of, you'd maintain areas of that building, but you know that certain areas are going to be demolished or are going to be dismantled for further use elsewhere? How do you approach a design when you know that it's going to be taken away? Is that not heartbreaking?
It can be part of the fun. So as part of the process of us winning this contract, we were involved in many tenders and design concepts of our own through the World Cup. And we were shortlisted down to the final three on what became Optimise Stadium. That concept that we had there was very much, we played on the fact that when it grows temporarily, you'd have a piece that you put on the top, which kind of looked like the rest of it, but kind of felt temporary, and then you could take that off and you were left with a permanent facility which was smaller, a legacy. Ideally, you program your time out and you use that extra time, as you're saying, just to fine-tune things and use that time to just make things right.
Yeah.
With this project, the timescales were so tight and really, there was a deadline that had to be hit, that sometimes you almost didn't have time for some of that, and you were using that extra time just to deliver the basics. And there was obviously a lot of travel involved. Some people were living out there for long, protracted periods. I myself just travelled regularly for meetings, and it's quite hard work because you're travelling into a city for a meeting on a day, and you just need to make sure everyone else is there as well. Otherwise, it's a bit chaotic.
How did you cope then with the COVID period? Because there was restriction on travel. There was we had to deliver the project, and collaboration coordination was so much more difficult. How did you cope with that? Because I know with a stadium, you need to sit around the same table together. You need to make sure that you're working on part of the circulation or part of the facade together. How did you do that?
So luckily, by the time COVID struck, we'd done most of the artwork. The contractor in the Middle East, in Qatar, he employed his own kind of shop drawing team. So they then deliver the actual building, the precast sections and all the concrete detailing. So our work, architecture, so our kind of information for construction was done primarily before the pandemic hit. But we were still continuing to work through the pandemic. But we'd started the project already using Teams for more and more of the meetings. It was this new, and Skype before that, but when Teams came on, we were pretty much using Teams. So when the pandemic hit, it was kind of that project already just gave us a bit of a warm-up to how we all suddenly jumped. And amazingly, now, if you were running that project now, you probably wouldn't have even had to do quite as many of the trips as we did.
Yeah.
Because you'd have been a bit better set up.
It's very difficult, question to answer it. I can say at the beginning actually of the design of the stadium, I was one of the one actually have the privilege to see it, as from the bank department. I can maybe Al-Bayt Stadium.
Yeah.
Because the Al-Bayt Stadium actually it's about our identity. It's actually it's like a mirror about who we are here in the GCC country. So it started with the World Cup for the GCC for in Al-Bayt Stadium. The people when they come to see it, they said it can't be done with that with that huge stadium with the tents design it with it.
Yeah.
And I was there with the England matching with Senegal.
Okay.
I was lucky actually. I was with the audience from the English British people.
Yeah.
And they were very happy actually. They as experience. I was listening to the two guys actually. Still actually remember about that conversation. He said they were looking for the stadium. He said try to focus in the match. He said I'm trying to focus in the match, but I'm trying to see that the fabulous about the stadium they have it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was at that point. I was smiling and happy because the feedback.
Proud of it.
Yeah, the feedback about the people, especially about the Britishing.
Yeah.
They are very happy about us. So we say that okay, we are an excellent route. We are very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very content with the way that people were mesmerized by what they've seen, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are comments? Concentrate on the football. Stop looking at the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
What a great memory to have.
Yes, Lusail. I went to Lusail Stadium. So that was very huge, to be honest.
90,000 capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of the people is massive. It's once you're there, it's the people and the audience, all of them are there, and you try to see that. I'm like an arena. It's a big arena. The Colosseum there. No, it's like trying to give you. Sometimes for me, it's at the audience, the background for the arena. What was the audience trying to say, and how they crowded it. I lived there with the Lusail, and I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was very, I don't know how to say it's scared and happy, at the same time, because scaring about the huge of the people who's actually attends the match.
Yeah.
I can tell about Medina Ta'limiyya, it's the Education City Stadium.
Yeah.
It's like more modern stadiums.
Yeah.
With the techniques about how can you actually reach it. So that's one of the sustainability I can point there.
Yeah.
So there's a drop area for the stadium. You can go by your car or by taxi or by metro. Once you're there, you can use the tram to go to the education stadium. Does we have this one in the other stadium? We have it, but we have with the metro. We don't have with the tram. For example, the Lusail, there is none. You can go by metro and then you can go by walk, or you can use the bus.
Yeah.
But the education city, because they already have it in the master plan about the trams, so it's like the people actually living there. It's more like modern or the future, like future cities, something like that.
Yeah.
So the expression about every stadium, they have their own, their own expression and their own identity.
What's also really impressive is that the building has had a 5-star rating for design and build and construction under the wastewater recycling scheme. With this whole big drive on sustainability, Qatar has, a green desert is, part of what their Expo 2023 they're talking about. And to see that they have conserved in Lusail Stadium 40% of their recycled water to, water the plants and to use for different parts of the building. I think that's just really a very modern way of looking at a building, not just for the design or to be elaborate or to host a World Cup, but to actually give something back to the world, you know, and have that sustainability angle on it. What is your angle working with stadiums holistically, not just Lusail, you know, in terms of sustainability? Are we doing enough? Do you think we should be putting more into what's there?
I certainly think as an industry, we're not doing enough sustainability. And I think we're moving into a world now where we're starting to understand much more the impact our decisions on specifying products, materials, and how that affects the climate.
So would you say it's the lack of knowledge then? Because, you know, we're saying we're understanding more. Is it the lack of knowledge and how to be sustainable? Or is it, what's the barrier?
Ultimately, buildings are built for a price budget. And traditionally, the way you procure a building is the cheapest way of building it. So a contractor or a builder will say, like, well, if I build that out of steel, that's cheaper than concrete this week. Or another week, they'll say concrete's cheaper. But timber, which may be suitable as a construction method, say that week, timber's not easy to source because there's no timber forest nearby, or timber soars ahead of steel because steel goes up and therefore timber gets scarce. You know, so you're dealing with all these things which are generally money driven, and they're not necessarily sustainability driven. So I think what we're missing in the construction business is an illegal carbon framework where we say that that's as important as cost. And if we somehow we can get that down as some kind of legal framework, then you'd always have to be checking back to that.
Qatar's hosting of the FIFA World Cup epitomises a profound commitment to sustainability existing far beyond the tournament itself, centred around the environmentally conscious Lusail Stadium. Designed by forward-thinking architects, Qatar integrates sustainability into its urban development and infrastructure projects, setting a precedent for eco-friendly living. Our exploration during this podcast documentary dives into the strategies employed by the nation to balance the grandeur of the World Cup with ecological responsibility, capturing the voices of architects and Qatari nationals alike. A year on from the World Cup, it is evident that Qatar's dedication to sustainability is a guiding ethos, ensuring a lasting legacy of responsible development and global impact.
جائزة أفضل مصور فوتوغرافي وجائزة أفضل مصور فيديو السيد عبد العزيز حسين محمد العجمي من فريق الجميلية.
الآن أعطونا تغيير الارتفاع يا جماعة.
Talk to me a bit more about how you felt capturing, the stadium before everything was built, and how you felt once everything was built.
It's amazing work. Really, it's amazing work. And I start with a lot of stadiums before start to make it until they done with everything, with light, with everything. And I have different shots from day, night shots, between that, like time lapse from the day until tonight. I have from for Khalifa International Stadium. I have for Lusail, Al-Bayt Stadium, 974. There's amazing work amazing finishing, amazing style.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Abdulaziz, do you have a preference in terms of filming at night or filming in the day? You know, the stadiums, they're very, you know, huge. They're very large structures, and some placed in the middle of nowhere, and some placed with some really nice surroundings. Which one did you prefer to film? You know, nighttime stadiums or daytime stadiums?
Depends, but you know, the best time and videographer or photographers, we call it, there's one gold hour. It's we call it this time gold hour. This one, it's between, for example, before sunset until sunset and until come little black.
Yes.
Or little dark. This time we call it golden hour. So I can take both. I can take and day normal shot, and we can take it with sunset and after when come little dark.
Yeah.
So this time we can catch 3 of shots different time. So then we can keep it in one video. So you can see it before until after.
So that's impressive because, you know, during my time here in Qatar, I realized, you know, when you walk around a place and when it comes to sunset and you see all of the lights lighting it up, it gives you a different perspective.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes.
So you are definitely capturing quite a lot of.
Yes. I capture. You know, I like, for example, I like to catch this time with the light when the light starts to open. It's amazing time because still we have a light from the sky and the light with a stadium, for example. So you can catch this 2 things with the building before it's come dark, but the light it will open.
Yeah, definitely. And we've had this conversation previously before we started to record where, you know, that nothing beats daylight. You know, no matter how many flashlights was it that you said we can have, there's nothing will beat daylight in terms of film videography.
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's kind of get to the fun bit of, you know, when someone kind of looks at a stadium and says, right, okay, capacity was 88,966. Most seats, was it? Most seated people during the World Cup. How do you distinguish the difference between a stadium that's been purpose-built for a World Cup and one that hasn't been? What's the main drivers?
Oh, my crikey. I mean, the obvious one is if you're designing for a World Cup, you have specific numbers on hospitality, VIP guests, parking. They're written down in the select letter of the law. So you're not designing to a business plan for a football club where they want to sell more skyboxes to lounges or more lounges to skyboxes or premium GA, or what you're doing is you're saying these are the things that FIFA must have, and then that's what you deliver. So there's a lot of the design which is probably not necessarily what a football club would want. However, in general, it often works out about the same. You often do about 8% of your seating capacity as hospitality. So, but it's the litigious square meters they put down for everything, and the square meter per person is very, very specific.
Perfect. So in terms of seat numbers then, just to give us a rough idea, you know, Lusail close to 90,000 seats. Does it have to be, you know, above 30,000 seats or something like that?
Each stage of a World Cup, you have the group stages, and you have the round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and then the final. Progressively, as you'd imagine, each group stage or each stage of the tournament, they get bigger and bigger.
Oh, brilliant! So Lusail.
So Lusail's has to be over 80 because that's the final. So any World Cup final or any Olympic stadium, similar in both sports, has to be over 80. And then semi-finals can be plus 60. Quarterfinals can be 40 to 60. But generally, you know, you're looking at 50, average 50. And then group stage games can be down at 40,000 or 45,000. So contractually, it's very different. They're not used to building stadia there. And even though there is a lot of construction going on in Qatar, it's quite a new profession, really, if you think about it. Qatar's a very new place. Historically, it's been there for years, but in terms of the level of development, it's really only been in the last 20 years, which is quite something. So that was the hardest challenge. You're working in an environment where everyone's doing it for the first time. There are stadia there, but they're quite small. Most of them don't have roofs. And the level of detail, technology, and effort you have to put into these things, I think it's just, they're almost overwhelmed and not aware of how much that takes. So in Lusail Stadium, we probably have the largest number of prayer rooms in any stadium in the world. And we had to design to a number that was agreed. We did 1 in 8. So for every 8 spectators, we had 1 prayer mat space. So this generated very large prayer rooms. And obviously we had to be cognizant of the fact there could be prayer time which overlaps with maybe the arrival time or the egress time for an event. So potentially in a country where there's a large number of people who are observing prayer times at different times through the day, we had to make sure we could provide space where they could easily do that. In most UK settings now, we're not just for Christian faith, but we also put in a multi-faith room in most buildings now to allow the fact that all faiths may just need a quiet space to go and do their prayer, or even just to go and cry, or just have a moment. Whatever you want to do in your multi-faith room, it's quite important to have that point where you can be spiritual or contemplative.
One other thing with regards to technologies in Lusail Stadium, they had these great big grey air conditioning units. Was that?
It's for the stadium.
For the stadium?
Yeah. So the whole stadium is actually air cooled.
Air cooled, not conditioned.
Yes. So the idea is, if you imagine dry ice, which most people are familiar with if you watch a concert or used to watch Top of the Pops back in the day if you're old enough. But dry ice basically is cold, frozen hydrogen, which you just mix it with a bit of air and water in it. It just kind of forms this kind of this almost river of smoke or mist.
Some restaurants bring out food like that nowadays.
So if you just imagine you got that picture in your head,
have it,
and then effectively that's how we cooled the air in the stadium. So we just dropped air in at the back of the upper tier, and then in the lower tier, vents behind everyone's seats. And the idea is the cool air would come out and then just drop down the seats, and it would just cool the air in the meter zone of where you sat. Because otherwise, if you're trying to condition the entire stadium, it would be impossible. You'd just be forever doing it. So the idea is you let gravity take that cool air and it lands on the pitch, and then on the edge of the pitch are lots of blowers, and they were blowing cool air across the playing surface. And that's basically how we kept the temperature.
The impact of that cool air that's going onto the pitches, if you walk close by it, would you feel a big gush of wind almost? Or?
The idea is it's low velocity. Okay. So the idea is you're just trying to blow it out so that it's using gravity. So if you imagine filling a bath with water, you can have the tap on low or you can have it on high, but eventually the water all fills up, and it's like that. You're just trying to get the cool air which sinks and warm air rises. So you're just filling the pitch with a kind of a layer of cool air.
During the game with Brazil, everyone's roaring, whatever you want to call it. Did you feel cool? Did you?
Yes, you definitely feel absolutely fine. If anything, if you go in shorts and in a t-shirt, you're a bit too cold. And some of the end games were November, and I think it went into December, didn't it? It went middle of December, the final. By then, the weather in Qatar is actually really, really pleasant, and in the evenings it gets quite cool. At the beginning of the tournament, it was quite hot. The winter in the Middle East is lovely. It's what the air-cooled stadiums will mean is, in legacy, they can play later into the season because their playing season's so short. So I know in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, where we've done bits of work before, They've spoken to us about just trying to lengthen that season, looking about putting roofs on stadia, adding air conditioning to them so they can just extend their playing season.
While I couldn't attend the 2022 World Cup in person, its profound impact resonated far beyond the stadium walls, fostering global peace. In this documentary podcast, we explored perspectives from architects, locals and professionals who spoke about technology and sustainability and how it shaped the backbone of the most peaceful World Cup ever. It was great to witness firsthand how the generosity of the locals is manifested in the grand architecture of their stadiums and buildings alike. This journey was undeniably unforgettable, leaving an incredible mark on my memories. Am I inspired to be part of the World Cup audience in the future? Yes, I believe so. Will I revisit Qatar? I sincerely hope so. Am I inspired? Without a doubt.